So growing up, what did
Yeah.
you want to be growing up?
Honestly, I knew from a little kid that I wanted to be a computer engineer. Uh, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's my mom's fault. Like my mom, she used to work for General Electric, and she used to work on computers all of the time. In
Uh-huh.
fact, work on like one of the first supercomputers and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So, me being a child, I used to like take things apart when I got bored. I used to take apart like clocks and like anything, table. I used to take it all the way apart, open it up, take the motherboard off, unplug wires, stuff like that, and then I would put it back together, like try to put it back together and make it work so I wouldn't get in trouble because I wasn't supposed to do this. So eventually they just started giving me like broken stuff, like broken clocks and all types of digital equipment. So I knew at a very young age that I wanted to be in computers.
How old were you when all that was going on?
Taking stuff apart, I was really young. Like I probably started taking stuff apart about like between like 5 and 7. I was literally taking because I didn't want to play sports. That's what people don't get. Like my mother had to like force me into playing sports. I wasn't playing. I was pretty fine, like watching like cartoons, like, and I used to like Magic School Bus and stuff like that. And then like I was literally just find stuff and just take it apart. So they had to like force me outside the house just so I could be social.
Tag. And that's so crazy because you're 6'5". Like
Yeah,
you're extremely tall.
wasn't
And
always.
what made you feel like you did not want to play sports? Like because you had the height for football and for basketball. Honestly, you would have been like a point, but
I wasn't tall. That's what people don't understand. I have pictures now. I'm gonna try to send you one of these days. Like when I played basketball, like at my young age, and like my head is at some of my friends' shoulder. And right now they standing at 5'10". You understand what I'm saying? So I was like 4'11" in 7th grade. I was really small. I just had like really long arms and like I wore like a 7 shoe, And in 7th grade, my foot went from a 7 to a 12 in the same year. So like, I kind of like grew overnight. It wasn't. I grew later than everybody else too.
how old were you when that happened?
That's when it started. So I think I finished 8th grade. What I remember is I finished 8th grade. My address I was 4'11", and I got the card to prove it. I was 4'11", 101 pounds in 7th grade. I finished 8th grade. I was 5'8". And then at the beginning of 9th grade, I was 6'1". So it was like a sprout, and I didn't know what was going on. Like my knees were hurting and stuff like that. So my mom always knew I was going to be tall. She used to always say that, you're going to be tall. Don't worry about it.
Mm.
I was really small. I was that kid that people like typically like picked on at first. Like when I first started out, I used to have to go out and fight, just to like defend myself and stuff like that because I was that guy, So and I just grew overnight.
So you said that you were 6'1" in the 9th grade. So when you got into high school, how come you decided not to go into sports?
I did. I was in sports by the time I got there. My mom
Oh, okay.
was young, so it's not like she got me. What I'm saying is, when I was about 7, when I was telling you I was taking stuff apart, 5 and 7, I didn't
Uh-huh.
want to then. She forced me into it. My mom made me go play football. She literally took me down to Pepper Mill Community Center and signed me up and threw me to the Wolves.
Right.
So that's the first sport I played, and then I was a 3-sport athlete. So I played football, basketball, and baseball, and those seasons run right into each other.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but I started to do that until she forced it.
Oh, wow. Okay, so 5'7" engineer, you're making things. So what made you realize I don't want to be a computer engineer? I don't want to put things together anymore. If you were so passionate about it at such a young age, what made you stop that? And what happened? Like where did the transition take place?
Honestly, since we were talking about sports, I can relate playing basketball, which is the main sport, to absolutely everything in my life. Every transition, places I've gone, my growth, my mindset, everything I can relate it back to playing basketball and the things that I went through on that journey. And me wanting to be a computer engineer was one of them. Like I was so sold on that. I was so sold on that. Even because I went to junior college before I went to the university. And when you get to the university, you realize that it should be a double major. You're doing both IT and computer science. So you're learning how to program, add build stuff with the hardware, connecting stuff to the motherboard and things of that nature. Even in high school in 12th grade, I didn't have classes, so I was the assistant. One of my coaches was the tech guy there, and I literally used to go around to all of the teachers' classes and take the viruses off the computers and stuff like that. And he wasn't following me. He would literally just give me a list, and I would go to those classes that are on the list, and I would sit back there and take the viruses off and put the antivirus on. I was doing IT work back then, which people were getting paid for free, But when I got to university, it was about basketball, and I realized that when you have a scholarship, that's what it's really about. And when I got to Claflin, I had the best experience there. A lot of things went on, and I ended up having to transfer, and I blew my knee out and stuff like that. So when I got to Virginia Intermont in Bristol, Virginia, I kind of wanted to hurry up. So I was a computer engineer major with a minor in history. I was like, I'm just going to pick history because it's really, really natural. Like, history is natural. Like, I love debating. I like arguing. I like researching. And I'm actually intrigued about war and philosophy and things of that nature. So I was like, okay, well, let's change up, and we can just go to law school, because you're pretty much able to sell yourself with anything with history because it's all about researching and finding points. So I can literally relate the techniques and stuff that I got from that major to any business. So like that was like my backup plan. That's how I switched.
Then moving forward, that obviously all ends.
Yes. So basketball, like I had a lot of injuries. Okay, a lot. I've done everything from breaking my fifth metatarsal in my foot, to breaking my fingers, dislocating all my fingers, thumbs, term labrum ligament, dislocating shoulders. At one point, I done had my kneecap kicked to the back of my leg. Like I've had just about everything that you can possibly think of, like just playing basketball. And the way that I play is like really, really physical, so I tend to have these types of injuries about the way I'm playing and trying to force myself through someone else that has force also. And, energy doesn't go away, it just transfers. And it typically finds like the weak point in the body and like cracks. All right. So there was a lot of other things going on with that time, with the death of my grandparents and things like that. So I think that also helped with a lot of my injuries because I was like extremely stressed out. And if you don't know, like the stress that you have in life does have a direct reflection on your body. Like people don't understand like how much it affects you, So there's a lot of that going on. And as the years went on, I pretty much developed techniques on coming back. Like I remember when I dislocated my shoulder, I still wanted to try to play that season, right? So I had to have surgery because it got to the point where it's like if I even celebrated, you go like and one, throw a punch,
right?
If I punch, my arm would just come out like that, like it would just fall out. And at first, I didn't want to tell nobody because I wanted to keep playing, and that was my problem. I had an extremely high threshold for pain. So I saw what the doctors did to put my shoulder back. I pay attention to things like that. So instead of like telling my coaches that it came back out, I'll sub myself out the scrimmage and go to the side and like move my arm so I can go back in. And then I'll wait for the numbness to go away and then go back, sub myself back onto the floor. So I just had a ton of injuries and I kept making it worse because I wouldn't sit down. So that's pretty much how I like transitioned into athletics because my career